Hey, what's up? Today I'm going to show you an easier and better way of making Chicago-style Italian beef at home. And unlike my original recipe, this version doesn't require you to have a deli slicer and it's way more hands-off. To get started, I'll need 4 pounds of beef chuck. Unlike the very lean beef round that most Italian beef shops use, beef chuck is full of intramuscular fat that can be melted slowly. And to oversimplify things, when you melt this fat, the meat gets very tender. In contrast, the best way to make lean beef tender is to cook it gently, preferably to a medium temperature, then to slice it very, very thin. This shortens the meat fibers considerably, making you perceive them as more tender. But slicing meat as thin as you need for this sandwich by hand is nearly impossible, and I know you don't have a meat slicer, and I don't either, so that's off the table. Now to prep this chuck for cooking, I'm going to cut it down into 5 to 6 large chunks that are 2 to 3 inches across. I like pieces this size because they cook about 30 to 40% faster than the whole roast would. Next, I'll slide this cut beef into a medium bowl, then I'll hit it with a generous dose of kosher salt. For 4 pounds of meat, I'm talking 2 to 3 tablespoons or about 30 grams. Next, I'll give this a quick toss to get everything coated up, then I'll let the meat sit for 15 minutes. This will act as a quick dry brine and help the meat hold on to its moisture during the long, slow cooking phase. 15 minutes later, I'll grab a large nonstick pan and drop it on the stove over medium-high heat. Once that's hot, in goes a long squeezer of olive oil, then in goes my salty beefs and I'll sear for 5 to 10 minutes. But Bri, you never sear meat on the stovetop and you literally just made a video about how great oven searing is. Yes, that's true, and if you wanted to oil up these beef chunks and broil them until they're brown, that would work great. But I don't need a lot of browning here, and all of my meat fits neatly into this 12-inch pan, so I can get it done in one batch. It's still messier than oven searing, but today, in this context, it's faster. And after 10 minutes, I've got a little bit of brown crust on 2 sides of my meat, so next I'll scoot it over to my slow cooker. I'm using an Instant Pot because that's what I have, but any cheap crock pot would work. Back at the stove, I'll add in a quick splash of stock to deglaze all the beef stuff that's stuck on the pan. Then I'll pour that meaty liquid on top of my seared beef. Next, I'll grab 1 box of beef stock and glug that in on top of the beef. That's about 900 grams. Next, in goes 10 grams of onion powder, 10 grams of garlic powder, 5 grams of oregano, 5 grams of basil, 3 grams of chili flake, 5 grams of coriander, 5 grams paprika, 50 grams of worch, 25 grams of tomato paste, and then 50 grams of a high quality beef bouillon. In my opinion, that means better than bouillon. They're not sponsoring this video, by the way. I just really like it. If you can't find BTB though, I would say sub in some kind of flavorful bouillon, even if it's chicken. This part is very important. Now I'll give everything a quick stir to mix the tomato paste, bouillon, stock, and spices. Then I'll pop on a lid and slow cook this for 8 to 10 hours. Now, while that cooks, I'll bust out the only other non-bread component of this sandwich, Giardiniera. To make it, I'll need to cut down 6 veggies. The first of which is cauliflower. To avoid the inevitable cauliflower crumble that you get from trying to cleanly dice down ahead of this stuff, I like to zip out the core first, then tear the florets down by hand into smaller florets. This way is prettier and more uniform. Next, I'll small dice 4 stalks of celery and 2 medium-sized carrots. Nothing fancy here, but I'd say err on the smaller side. We don't want jarred that's super chunky because its texture will take away from the tender beef. Next, I'll give the same small-ish dice to 1 large green bell pepper and 1 small white onion. In total, I'll need 150 grams each of cauli, carrot, celery, onion, and bell pepper. Now to bring the heat to this giardiniera, I'll grab 4 to 5 serrano chilies and slice them thinly. Sub in jalapenos if you want your jar to be more mild, or poblanos if you want it really mild. In total, I need 75 grams of sliced serranos. Lastly, I'll squeeze in 5 to 6 cloves of garlic through my garlic press, then I'll toss all these vegetables together. Now to pickle these things, I'll bring 600 grams of white distilled vinegar, 400 grams of water, and 30 grams of salt to a rapid boil. Then in goes my veggies, I'll pop on a lid, then kill the heat and naturally let these vegetables cool down in the brine. 1 hour later, I'll throw these veggies into the fridge and marinate them overnight. The next day, I'll drain off the pickling liquid, then top the pickled veggies with 300 grams of canola oil and 200 grams of olive oil. This oil will help the jarred last for literally months in the refrigerator, and it'll pick up the flavor of the veggies and the peppers, making the oil itself part of the condiment. Next up, I'm going to show you guys how to make a super simple Italian hoagie roll to serve alongside this beef. I'll start with my stand mixer, and into the bowl of that, I'll combine 225 grams of warm water with 9 grams of instant yeast, 20 grams of olive oil, 15 grams of sugar, 350 grams of bread flour, and then 9 grams of salt salt. Now with the dough hook, I'll spin on medium speed for 3 minutes until the dough is well combined and clearing the bowl. From there, I'll rip the mixer up to high speed, or about 3 or 4 on this KitchenAid, and mix for 4 more minutes, or until the dough is fully strengthened and can hold itself together when I give it a firm tug like this. Next, I'll flip this dough out into a medium bowl and lightly round it into a tidy ball. Now the lid goes on and I'll ferment it for 90 minutes. Lauren and I are planning on going to the more rural parts of Italy next year where English isn't a given. So I want to learn some more Italian words and phrases, especially the correct pronunciation, because the last time I was in Italy, it was embarrassing. That's why I started taking lessons with the partner of this video, Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone is a language learning method that uses your brain's natural ability to learn language. Rosetta Stone's voice recognition tool is very sick and one of my favorite features, since it makes sure that you're not completely butchering the language that you're learning by teaching you proper pronunciation. La donna mangia. With Rosetta Stone's method, you start learning practical phrases right away in your first lessons, and you can even choose specific phrase books to help you get by in situations that you'll actually find yourself in real life, like eating at restaurants or taking public transit. So if you want to start learning a new language for travel, or maybe get to know your Korean neighbors a little bit better, Rosetta Stone offers a lifetime membership that allows you access to all 25 of their languages for your entire life, until you die. Right now, Rosetta Stone is offering a 60% discount on their membership, which makes it $149 down from $399. So if you want to check it out, the link will be down in my description. Now, let's get back to the beef. 90 minutes later, this dough has more than doubled in size, and now it's strong enough to push back on my poke. That's a good sign. Next, I'll divide this dough into 2 roughly 300 gram sized pieces. Then I'll flip those over so the cut side is up. Then I'll fold in the sides to create some tension, flip it back over onto that seam, and then round lightly until the dough is tucked up underneath into a tidy little ball. And once I've got 2 pre-shaped balls of dough, I'll cover with my bowl and rest for 15 minutes. 15 minutes later, this dough is relaxed and ready to be shaped into a tube. So I'll flip one of these doughs out of the way, then I'll flip over the other one that I'm gonna shape. First, I'll use my fingertips to gently press out any excessive gas. From here, I'll use my fingertips to roll the dough over 1 inch at a time and then push forward to seal the fold into the dough. This creates tension that will allow the dough to hold itself up when it's fully proofed. And once I got this rolled up into a tube, I'll use my thumbs and pointer fingers to roll the tube back and forth to make it wider. There's a seam under the bread at this point that we made during the roll up, and you want to keep that tucked under the best you can. If that seam gets twisted around, the loaf might open up during the bake and make a deformed piece of bread. And once I've got this rolled out into a tight 12-inch tube, I'll drop both pieces onto the back of a sheet tray that's been lined with a pan-sprayed piece of parchment paper. I like to press these to make them flatter once they're on the tray, because that will make the final rolls flatter after they're baked. And in my opinion, that's a much better vehicle for Italian beef than a perfectly round cylinder. And once these are laid out on the sheet tray, I'm going to cover them with a towel or a lid of some kind to proof them up. 60 minutes later, I've got 2 beautifully proofed loaves that are about 2 times their original size. Next, I'll spray these loaves with a little bit of water to help them spring during the bake. Then I'll use a razor blade or a serrated knife to make one long, deep score from tip to tip. Now the tray goes into a preheated 375F oven to bake for 30 minutes. 30 minutes later, when I pull out these rolls, you can see they're golden brown, crusty, and ready for beef. I designed this bread recipe specifically for this sandwich. It's yeasty, it's soft, it's a touch chewy, and it's sturdy enough to hold together when saturated with salty Italian beef juice. Speaking of which, let's get back to that beef. It's been about 8 to 9 hours since I started slow cooking this beef, and now when I pull it out of the pot, you can see it shreds pretty easily when I tug it apart, but it also holds itself together. By the way, like I mentioned before, if you don't have a slow cooker, then you could cook this meat in the oven at 300F for 5 to 6 hours. It's a really beautiful way to cook this dish, but it requires a little bit more attention, and you can't cook it while you're sleeping, or at least I wouldn't, so I prefer the slow cooker. Now to prep this beef for the sandwich, I'll pull the rest of the meat out of the crock pot and shred it down, but not that much. I want to break each piece into 4 to 5 smaller pieces with a little bit of shreddiness in between. If the meat's broken down too much, it's not going to have any texture on the sandwich, and in my opinion, that is bad. Next, I'll grab a non-stick pan and drop it on the stove over medium-high heat. Once that's hot, I'll squiggle in a generous dose of olive oil, then in goes my shredded beef. I'll stir that up and break it down a little bit more, then basically refry this meat to get some crispy edges and additional browning. This has worked really well for some other dishes that I've done, like carnitas or al pastor, and it's just a lot more flavorful than straight up wet crock pot meat, especially when we add the next step, temp. And after 4 to 5 minutes, you can see this meat has sizzled up a little bit. So now I'll add in 2 to 3 cups of my beef jus and reduce that by about half. But keep an eye on the salt level here. We definitely want jus that's very flavorful, reduced, and well seasoned, but we don't want something that's unpleasantly salty. The final sandwich meat should be juicy, tender, and swimming in a concentrated liquid that tastes kind of like powdered onion soup mix. Now to build this sandwich, I'll cut a 6-inch length of bread and then refire it in my oven for 5 minutes to slightly crisp up the outside. Then I'll drop on about a 1/4 cup or maybe even more of my Giardiniera. Also, I'm not draining the oil off of this stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, that oil is super flavorful and it helps make the sandwich what it is. Next, I'll add on at least 8 ounces of my shreddy glazed Italian beef and make sure to get as much of the wetness from that meat onto the sandwich as possible. It should be kind of sloppy. Speaking of that, I'm gonna slop this up a little bit more by ladling some of the concentrated jus right from the Instant Pot onto the meat and onto the bun. Now to bring some structure to this moist mess, I'm gonna wrap the whole thing with parchment paper. This is kind of like a sandwich corset or Spanx. Basically, it takes things that are a little bit too loose and keeps them tucked up tight. And you guys, that is an absolute hog of a sandwich. Flavor-wise, it's like 98% of what you'd get from an authentic sliced beef sandwich in Chicago. The interplay of the beef with the pickly, oily peppers and the dried herbs is exactly what you're looking for. And as a Chicagoan who currently lives in Missouri, this sandwich scratches a deep itch. Emotionally, it makes me feel like a beef from Johnny's or Al's does, as in happy and at home. If you're a Chicago person living somewhere that ain't got no beef sandwiches, then please give this recipe a try and let me know in the comments how it hits you. And if you want another Chicago classic, please check out this video for my deep dish pizza. Now, let's eat this thing.